Hey, everybody. I'm Chris Metzler, one of the programmers for SF Indie Fest Screen Film Festival San Francisco. As you can see, we're still kind of in this kind of topsy-turvy world of the pandemic, which means we're kind of a hybrid film festival. We have screenings in person here virtually, and we're lucky enough to have our opening night film, which is a sneak preview of Do I Need This, which you might have seen online or at the Roxy. And we're lucky enough to have the filmmaker here. Hey, Kate, how's it go today?
Good, thanks for having me.
Yeah, and we're of course recording this before the screening, but it's exciting to have run across this film and submissions and get a chance to share it here with your hometown here in the Bay Area.
Yeah, I'm so excited about having so many friends coming to see it and stuff. So thanks.
Well, the thing I really liked about the film is just the kind of quirky and offbeat touch that you kind of bring to what are kind of some serious issues. So what kind of inspired you that you knew there was a film to be made? And was there anything that kind of surprised you during the making of it that you didn't kind of anticipate?
Surprised me like my dog wandering around right now. Yeah, so the film evolved. I did the film over a 10-year period, so it turned into a very different film than it was originally I originally envisioned. I guess I started the film when I was right after I was working on this set of photographs, which is in the opening of the film. It was a set of photos called Useless Objects, and I would order things from the Sky Mall catalog and then return them. That was when the Sky Mall catalog still existed. Now it's closed. But anyway, and that got me thinking, I've always been interested in what we buy, what we consume, but when I would return those items, but then I started thinking, wow, people actually keep these, and we all have so much stuff coming into our house, and it's hard to get rid of it. And how is it impacting our lives on a personal level?
And as you kind of dug in and kind of explored these motivations, were there certain assumptions that you had at the beginning of the film that kind of changed over the making of it?
Oh, yeah. One of the assumptions I had was that I wasn't part of this topic, that I was looking at, I don't buy what I see. I obviously consume like everyone else, but I don't buy those kind of single-use items so much. And I was kind of a little bit looking at, thinking, oh, other people do this, I'm going to look at what they do. And then I started noticing my own life and thinking, wow, like you're such a hypocrite for turning the camera on other people and not actually looking at how much stuff you have in your life. And you have a big problem with being attached to things. So then of course, my parents decided to move a few years after I started the film. And then my mom got sick. And so the whole project changed from that point on.
And it's interesting with your parents' involvement is that it's one thing when you're making a film by yourself, but wrapping other kind of family members in. Like how were they supportive of it or reluctant to kind of be in front of the camera?
Mm-hmm. Well, my dad is very he was very alpha and very like to be, the star, which is funny in this case because my mom became more of the star. But so my dad didn't have any problem being on camera. My mom was always supportive of whatever I do creatively, and so she was fine being filmed. But now, after the fact, I do have some mixed feelings. Like I tried to really limit what you could see of the really hard days of Alzheimer's, because I feel like very torn about sharing that publicly. And I don't know, I'm torn on how she would feel about that. So that's a little bit hard now that it's public. And I think, oh my God, I wish I could pull out that scene where, she's asking me to drive her somewhere, and I don't know.
Well, it's always a tough thing as a filmmaker of what we share on the screen. And I think the thing about it is that it makes the whole story just feel more human, and us to better kind of understand what's going on out there in the world. I mean, which might, it kind of leads to questions like, I know you're, in addition to be a documentary filmmaker, you're, a really great still photographer. And like, what's the kind of creative process that you bring to your projects, and particularly like a documentary film?
Mhm. Well, I feel like my job as a filmmaker and as a photographer is I do my best work when I'm like a sign spinner holding up the sign saying like, look here, look here. I try to make things fun and engaging. I try to use humor in my work to draw the audience in so they can really see more of the message that's there. I think, I didn't want to preach in this film. I wanted to just make it an entertaining ride originally, but of course, then it became a really emotional ride. So in this case, it was almost like the emotional part became unavoidable. I wanted to keep it just like my last film, which was about marriage. And while I was making that film, my second marriage was collapsing. And so I was trying to keep it like, this is light and funny, but divorce is not always light and funny. So in both times I had to kind of give in and go with some, deeper emotion.
Well, I think for those in the audience that maybe haven't seen that, is there a place to see that earlier film? It was at Happily Ever After, or
After Happily Ever After.
After Happily Ever After. Yeah, is there a place that folks can see that?
Well, you can get in touch with me through my website, which is Luna Park or kspics.com. And I can send a link there because it's been offline for a little while, so I need to get it back up.
Definitely a fun film if folks can kind of search it out and reach out to Kate. I think your kind of approach to making films is kind of like how we curate a festival like the Green Film Festival of San Francisco. We're a little bit of like the punk rock environmental film festival, and we want to kind of share these stories with kind of irreverent fun. But with that said, it's like obviously we'd love people to kind of be inspired by the films they make and decide to kind of make changes in their own life however they want. I know your intention wasn't necessarily to change hearts and minds, but maybe at least get people to kind of think about things. How do you think making this film, how has it kind of changed your life, and what would you like the kind of audience to kind of take away when they leave the theater?
Mm-hmm. Well, I hope that people leave the theater, first of all, just with a simple message of, when they go to buy something, to think, do I actually need this? Do I need this? And just put a little more thought into what we bring into our lives. But more than that, I think, that was sort of the initial piece, but then it's grown to be really like, what do you need in life? Like what void are we trying to fill with all of this stuff, and how can we find it in ways that are less damaging to the planet, but also more fulfilling for our own lives? I mean, experience has been proven to bring more happiness than objects. Look at how can we make our lives more meaningful. But in terms of my own life, I'd say that's the biggest piece that I really, not just making the film, but losing my parents, it's really made me evaluate what does matter, and how I want to, I want to live like my dad more than anything. I want to be skydiving when I'm 88, and I want to live every minute to the fullest. And I think that that's really, been solidified through the process of making the film and losing my parents.
Well, I know the journey, hasn't been, always easy, but, really appreciate the kind of handcrafted and the wonderful film that you've put together and are sharing it with us. And, the thing I always try to remind the audience is that, we're lucky enough that filmmakers like Kate, share their films with us at film festivals and things. And so we're kind of the grassroots street team to kind of help spread the word. So if you love Do I Need This, please kind of share about it on social media, let them know it's coming to a theater, town near them, and reach out to Kate and let her know what you think about the film. Thanks again, Kate. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
Okay.